The most terrifying aircraft project in human history is no longer a myth. It's about to take flight. After decades of failures, lost fortunes, and broken dreams, NASA and Boeing have finally done it. They've cracked the code to create something so advanced, so dominant, that it could end wars before they even begin. But when Donald Trump returned to the White House in January 2025, he didn't just accelerate the program. He lit the fuse for what's now shaping up to be the most dangerous arms race in modern history. This is the story of the F-47, America's sixth-generation fighter jet. A machine so powerful, it makes every other aircraft on Earth look like a museum piece. But the real shock isn't what the F-47 can do. It's what China and Russia are planning next to counter it. For years, the very idea of a sixth-generation fighter was seen as science fiction. NASA engineers wrestled with designs that defied the laws of physics, only to watch one prototype after another fail. Each breakthrough slipped away, crushed under the weight of impossible technology and mounting costs. Billions were lost. Dozens of dreams died. The project became a graveyard of ambition. Then came a turning point. In 2014, DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, launched its Aerospace Innovation Initiative. Those mysterious X-planes you might have seen, they weren't just experiments. They were full-scale test beds for technologies that would give birth to the most lethal aircraft ever imagined. Behind the curtain, Boeing was quietly building something monstrous, officially labeled a penetrating counter-air vehicle. But that bland name hid the truth. It was a flying weapon of the future, designed to rule the skies before the enemy even knew it was there. And when the defense world finally realized what Boeing had created, it shook the military establishment to its core. History has always been clear. Whoever controls the skies controls the war. World War I brought us the first dogfights. Today, wars are no longer won by bravery or skill alone. They're decided by who is the most intelligent, invisible, and unstoppable machines. For decades, the U.S. has ruled the air with titans like the F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II, aircraft that redefined aerial dominance. Even the arrival of basic F-16s in Ukraine sent shockwaves through Russia's air command. Now imagine their fear when they discover what's coming next. Because China and Russia aren't sitting still. Beijing has poured billions into its J-20, J-11, and J-15 fighters, desperate to close the gap. Their engineers don't sleep. Their pilots train without pause. For years, they've been chasing America's shadow. But that chase is about to end. And what happens next could rewrite the balance of global power forever. When President Donald Trump stepped into the Oval Office in March 2025, he faced a decision that would change the future of warfare forever. Three of America's defense giants, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Raytheon Technologies, were locked in a battle for the contract of a lifetime. The mission? To build the F-47, a fighter jet so advanced that it would rewrite the very definition of air combat. The competition was nothing short of ruthless. Each company promised a revolution, game-changing speed, stealth, and autonomy. But the Air Force had one demand that separated dreamers from doers. A fighter that could operate entirely alone. No wingmen, no command support, no safety net. Just a single machine of pure, self-reliant destruction. When the dust settled, Boeing emerged victorious, securing a jaw-dropping $20 billion contract, more than twice what any previous aircraft project had ever cost. Their promise? A fighter so invisible that no radar system on Earth could detect it. A weapon that could fly through the most hostile airspace on the planet and come out untouched. But what truly shook the world wasn't what Boeing was building. It was what their competitors discovered about China. While Washington celebrated Boeing's win, U.S. intelligence agencies were tracking a silent but terrifying development on the other side of the Pacific. Beijing wasn't just building its own sixth-generation fighter. They were planning to deploy it 5 years before America's F-47 even left the ground. Then came the wake-up call. August 5th, 2025. The world stopped for a moment. Mysterious images began circulating on Chinese social media, blurry at first, then clearer, showing a tailless, razor-edged aircraft unlike anything anyone had ever seen. This wasn't another J-20 variant or a prototype leak. Analysts recognized it instantly. The sharp, predatory nose, the cropped diamond wings, and that unmistakable W-shaped tail. This was something entirely new. China's answer to American air dominance. And it was far more advanced than anyone in Washington had imagined. Within hours, satellite imagery confirmed the impossible. Test flights were already underway in Gansu province. The aircraft, nicknamed the J-36 or J-50, depending on its mission profile, wasn't just another stealth jet. It represented a culmination of decades of reverse engineering, cyber espionage, and homegrown innovation. For years, Beijing had quietly studied American designs, from the F-22 to the F-35, dissecting every aerodynamic curve, every engine algorithm, every stealth coding formula they could obtain. But this time, they hadn't just copied. They'd innovated. Reports from inside the Pentagon suggested that Chinese engineers had achieved breakthroughs even NASA and Boeing hadn't, solving aerodynamic heating and engine stress issues that had limited Western prototypes for decades. Their fighter wasn't designed to match the F-47. It was designed to surpass it. The implications were chilling. China's program wasn't just ambitious. It was accelerated, moving faster than any military aviation project in modern history. And when analysts compared this timeline with Beijing's expanding presence across the South China Sea, one conclusion became clear. Beijing's intentions were no longer theoretical. They were preparing for something real. Something immediate. The reunification of Taiwan, by force, if necessary. For decades, one thing and one thing only had stopped that invasion: American air power. The ever-present patrols of the F-22 Raptor, the F-35 Lightning II, and the steel wall of U.S. carrier strike groups guarding the Pacific. Under the Taiwan Relations Act of 1979, the United States is legally obligated to assist in Taiwan's defense. But the truth runs deeper. It's not just law, it's deterrence. The colossal carriers, USS Ronald Reagan, USS Carl Vinson, and USS Nimitz, are floating fortresses of democracy, each one capable of launching squadrons of F-divided by -18S and F-35s, creating a sky shield so impenetrable that Beijing dared not test it. For decades, that balance of power held. Until now, because China's new sixth-generation fighter changes everything. If these stealth aircraft can breach U.S. defenses, slip past radar, and neutralize carriers before they even react, Taiwan's fate could be sealed in hours, not days. The fragile balance that has kept World War III from igniting could collapse overnight. Inside the Pentagon, the message became clear: the fifth-generation era was over. The F-22 and F-35, symbols of U.S. air superiority, were no longer enough. America didn't need an upgrade. It needed a revolution. And that revolution had a name: the F-47. It wasn't just another aircraft. It was a fly insurance policy, a final safeguard against the world spiraling toward chaos. Because in the wars of the future, it's not ground troops or tanks that decide victory. It's who commands the skies. And whoever commands the skies commands the earth. What makes the F-47 truly terrifying isn't just its stealth or speed. It's the fusion of technologies once thought impossible. Developed through a secret Boeing-NASA partnership, the F-47 uses adaptive propulsion engines capable of maintaining supersonic speeds without afterburners, striking targets over 1,000 miles away and returning without refueling. But raw speed is only the beginning. Its stealth goes beyond radar invisibility. Its multispectral cloaking renders it nearly undetectable by infrared, acoustic, or even optical systems. To the enemy, it's as if the aircraft doesn't exist. By the time they realize it's there, it's already too late. Its most chilling feature? Autonomy. The F-47 can lead entire swarms of AI-controlled drones, coordinating complex aerial maneuvers at lightning speed, turning one pilot into a one-person air force. In combat, it's not man versus machine anymore. It's machine commanding machines. Each jet costs more than 3 times the price of an F-35, pushing total development costs beyond $60 billion, making it the most expensive weapons program in human history. Critics called it reckless spending, but top generals issued a grim warning. Without the F-47, America would lose the skies. China's rapid advances forced America's hand. And soon, Russia, Europe, Japan, and even India joined the race. What began as competition has evolved into a global arms race that makes the Cold War look small. Now, the world stands the dawn of the sixth-generation era, a new age of invisible warfare, autonomous combat, and algorithmic strategy. An age where speed, stealth, and artificial intelligence decide who survives. The winner of this race won't just dominate the skies. They'll define the future, because the race for air supremacy has already begun. And the question that remains, is humanity ready for the world it's about to create?